what's up, Midnight Crew? It is your girl Midnight, and I am here with a little video of a story time. So y'all know that I have been trying to get my license and going for these road tests for a minute now. And y'all, today was my third road test, and I have to say, third time is a charm, because baby, I was not finna fail today. And y'all see what that say? Wait, can you see? Y'all see that say passed? You see that right there? Pass. Midnight pass. So I got my little paper here, y'all. I tried to sit in the DMV today to get my license because I want the paper, the little printout they give you, because here they used to give you a card the same day, but they give you a printout here, and it comes in the mail. But their system went down, so I have to go back on another day and get that. Now, y'all, since we're talking about license, I'm going to go into a little story time on why my license was suspended for so many years anyways. So I'm going to just tell y'all a little bit about that. So it was like 2013, February 2013, okay? I was interested in this truck that I had seen at this car lot. Car lot name is Smart Dollars here in Wisconsin, Milwaukee. It's located like on 64th or 63rd in Forest Home. Okay, so I had been looking in one of the magazines and seen that they had this truck in there, and I was interested in it. Now, mind you, this will be my first truck that I have ever purchased, because I was used to driving smaller cars, so I never really had a truck till I purchased this first truck. So I went there, me and my mom. My mom went with me, and we both checked out the car. Now, I don't know if this dude thought that he was finna pull a fast one, because it's two females coming in there. And a lot of these dealership salesmen, when they see women coming, they feel like some women don't know anything, like we so naive to car knowledge and all of this there and the third. So anyway, my mom was like, okay, Nene, because that's my nickname, Nene. Like, oh, okay, Nene, I think you should get the car. And I'm like kind of nervous about test driving, because I'm kind of scared to test drive, because I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't want to test drive it. It's my first truck, so Mom test drove it for me. She said, okay, everything is all good and this good here, this and that. And so I decided to buy the car or the truck. It was a Ford Explorer, nice beige. Exterior looks very well. Interior was peanut butter. So that looked well. But I guess anything that looks good ain't always good. Okay, found that out. And we find that out in many ways, honey. With everything. But I ended up purchasing the car. So my mom ended up driving my car that I had just bought back to my house. And I drove her car. So we followed each other. Okay. So when we got back to my house, my mom, we kissed each other goodbye. And I thanked her for coming with me, this, that, and the third. And I ended up going to pick up my aunt that same day, just to take them on a ride in my new car, my new truck. I went and picked Auntie up, and then I got my cuz, because she lived right in front here where I stayed. We stayed she stayed in the front, I stayed in the back. So we just riding around now. I'm smelling something that smells like it's burning. You know what I'm saying? Something smells like it's burning. But then I thought, like, at the dealership, he was putting fluids in. If sometimes you spill fluids on your engine, it burns. So that's what I thought, y'all. Then I didn't pay no mind. We ride around. So this next day, okay, now mind you, it ain't been a complete 48 hours. Next day, I go pick up Auntie, because, me and my auntie and my cousin, we all used to be together. We stayed together. So I'm picking up my aunt. Okay, and we riding, and we ended up having a fender bender with somebody the first time around in the same day. So I tapped this lady car because my brakes didn't stop correctly. So I got out, made sure there wasn't no damage to the car. my truck, make sure it wasn't no damage to her. She was so hysterical and dramatic, playing a real role, but I guess that's what people do. Somebody hit you, even if you ain't hurt, you're going to play the role. Go ahead, play the role. So she played the role, and the cops and the paramedics end up coming because she thought she had wind blast. They let me go. You know what I'm saying? They let her go. They let me go. No damage to her car. None of that. So, but I told my aunt, I said, Auntie, I got to take this car back, because the brakes is malfunctioning. The brakes not stopping properly. So, mind you, that was our first fender bender that day. Now, I was on my way to take the car back. So, on the way, taking the car back, my house was on the way. So, my cousin lived right in front of me. So, she came with us. Now, we on the way. We got to 35th and Scott. And that's when all of the tragic happened. Like, I'm just gonna say this, like, God had his blood and his grace, good grace, over us in that accident. Because my truck got to accelerating faster and faster on its own. And I'm trying to pump my brakes and I see that it's not stopping. Because, since I had that fender bender, I allowed myself space in the car before me. I didn't want to get near them. So I wasn't even near other cars for me to be up on them. But my car got to exhilarating. So now I'm thinking in my mind, like, oh my God, we finna hit them. So I had to prepare. And we hit a 4x4 county truck here. Okay? And those trucks are all steel. So I had to press myself by grabbing the steering wheel because I know that we finna hit head on. It's a head on collision. There's no way that I'm finna stop it because my brakes is not stopping at all. It's not. We hit them head on. It damaged the front full end of my truck and pushes the end on me and Auntie. So my auntie ended up having a panic attack because we can't believe that we just, impacted something so hard. And I believe that's the reason and the root to my back issues. I've been having a lot of back issues and I'm thinking that was the root to it. Not to mention what I was doing for a living wasn't helping either. So that was putting more wear and tear on my back. But I got like chronic back pain from that accident. We were physically okay because we were able to get out the car. None of us was physically damaged, like physically, but I don't know what it could have done to them over the years because over the years it has made my back a little bit worse and worse, like the pain that I have to deal with constantly in my back, which it could be bad nerves, pinched or whatever, I don't know, back issues, those kind of things. So my other aunt ended up picking us up from the accident scene, which is on 35th Sky. She takes me back to the dealership where I bought this car. I get there, he has customers on his lot. I'm very pissed and hysterical, so I'm yelling out in the parking lot where his customers are looking at cars. I'm like, don't nobody go buy a car from him. This and that and the third. My brother was on the lot too. Don't nobody buy a car from him. He's selling lemons and this and that and the third. Because even when you buy a car that's used, I know they have a policy where it's as is. But if you had just bought something and it's been less than 30 whole days and something goes wrong with that, you should still have some kind of warranty under that if it's been less than 30 days. I can see if it's been more than 30 days, but this ain't even been 72 hours. It ain't even been a whole 48 hours before I had lost my truck due to this accident. And I didn't have a license, so ultimately I was the cause for it because I should have been driving without a license. So I was sued by the city, and their judgment on me was to take my license for 8 years. So I was just reinstated in 2020 to go ahead on and get my driving privileges back. That's why I didn't waste no time then to go take that written test and get my permit. Now I didn't have my permit, and when I got that, I ended up scheduling for a road test, and I had to just keep waiting. So y'all, me and my mom ended up, after I done been hysterical on this man's property in his car lot, he said, well, you can't be saying that kind of stuff to my customers. I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. So we left. The next day, my mom was like, I'm gonna take you back up here and we're gonna try to talk to the man. The man wasn't trying to hear me. You know what I'm saying? He didn't want to feel like he didn't owe me anything. He felt like he didn't owe me my money back. He felt like he wanted to give me nothing else. So my mom said, okay, next time I take you up there and this man ain't talking right, because I was threatening to sue him and all of that. And I should have just did that. You know what I'm saying? Even though he ended up giving me a car. But my mom's like, if he was not talking right, we gonna go to the courthouse. So we didn't ended up going up there again. I guess the man slept on it or whatever and thought about it real nicely and hard, because he could have had lawsuits from me, from my aunt, and from my cousin if we all chose to sue you, because they were in the car with me. You know, so you're liable for whoever is in the car. Okay, so we went back and he slept on it. He said that, you know, he's a human, a person, and he thought about it, so he was willing to give me a car, another truck. And the truck that he wanted to give me, I didn't want. But the car that I wanted, that was for the same amount of money that I spent, he wanted to keep for himself. But he ended up giving it to me. And I still should have sued, you know, because, you know, I had a lot of problems with I have a lot of problems with my back because of that. But he ended up working with me, and I left it like that, y'all. I let bygones be bygones, but I probably would not recommend that car lot to nobody else. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what it's like now, but I wouldn't go back there and buy a car, and that was in 2013. I wouldn't recommend it. I'm sorry. That was just like a horrible year. You know what I'm saying? That happened in February. Then months later, you know, 3 months later, technically, my mom passed that year. So that was a horrible year. You know what I'm saying? 2013 was a horrible year, but that's why I couldn't get my driving privileges reinstated until they told me it was cool for me to do so because of the accident. And of course, I got to have SR22s because of that accident, which I do have under my insurance. But yeah, that was pretty bad. So like I said, God had his blood shed over me, his blood shed over my aunt, his blood shed over my cousin, because if we had been in anything, that truck was some garbage. But the truck saved me, my auntie, and my cousin's life, because if we had been in anything the way we hit on impact, if we had been in anything smaller, the spikes on that truck, on that county truck, will right through the windshield on us. So just because we set up a little higher, and by it being a truck, it just really damaged the truck real bad in the front. But we wouldn't be here to tell it. Like God had his good grace over us. And he had his hands wrapped around us that day. Yes, he did. And it's just a good that we didn't physically come out with like war wounds from that accident. Internal pain because I got back issues, but that's all. I'm still living. And I'm just glad my kids wasn't in there. I'm glad my kids, that's all I could say that day, is I'm glad my kids wasn't in this truck with me. I'm so glad. But I'm glad everybody ended up okay. And like I said, my mom passed in June of that year. This happened in February. My mom passed in June. So it was just a horrible year altogether. Just terrible. So I won't recommend nobody going to Smart Dollar. At all. Because, I mean, I ended up working with me. But the man didn't want to hear what I was saying. So, y'all, that is my story time. I'm just glad I finally got my license, because this was one of my little goals to finish, to get and achieve and get it. And third time is a charm. And I had a cool instructor today. So the last criticism that they gave me was I wasn't checking my blind spot enough. I aced it all today, honey. So I guess I was looking at the numbers and I got a 17. And the last couple of times my numbers was like a 38 or a 40. So I guess the higher the numbers is, that means you fail, because you're not supposed to get, I think it might be a 20 or less you can pass. But if you are over 20 points or whatever, I guess that's a fail. So I'm just glad all in all that I finally got my license and I'm going to keep a clean driver's record. I've always had one before, and it's going to stay clean because I am a cautious driver. That accident was really not my fault. The brake line snapped in it. That was the smoking. The smell of the smokiness. Once we got that car to the dealership, because it had to be towed, and the man also took registration money from me when I bought the car. And then when he didn't go get the car from the scene of the accident, it ended up getting towed in our city tow lot. I had to be the one to go get it out of the city tow lot, and that cost me additional registration fee to have it towed from the city tow lot to his lot, and it was already damaged then because it wasn't in my name. And he gave me that money. He gave me that out of his pocket because yeah, I paid you for registration when I bought this car. There's no way I should be getting this car out of the tow lot. Y'all supposed to have came and got it from the accident scene from right there. Y'all didn't do it. So the cops had it towed to the city tow lot because y'all never showed up. He gave me my money there and back, but never. So I'm gonna keep that driving privilege clean. But when you don't have a license, that's just what happened. I didn't have my license at the time, so I had to suck it up. Like, I know I didn't have fault in the reason of the accident, but I wasn't licensed either. So that's the reason why I was taken from me. Glad there wasn't no judgment with money involved because the county worker was very attentive to us. Like, he was more so worried about all three of us and making sure that we was okay. We didn't do any damage to his car. That truck did all the damage to mine, So that's the story time, Midnight Crew. Y'all like, comment, subscribe to this channel. Make sure y'all share the video. Share. Sharing is caring. And Midnight finally got it. She finally completed it. It's done. I got my license. Out of here, y'all.